So in 2002 and 2003, we were hunting for the Washington house, and this was the first place we looked, was over here. And we found the house that was here before the Washington house, but accidentally we ran into the remains of this building. And so this turned out to be a home for people who were enslaved by the Washingtons. And this is the only quarter, which a quarter is a building specifically designed to house enslaved people. And so this is the only one of these that we've found so far. So as you can see, the most prominent part of the building is the fireplace and this pit right here. And this is the diagnostic. This is the thing that lets us know that this is a slave quarter. And so what it is it's essentially a root cellar or a subfloor pit. And every place where enslaved people live, where they control their space, there's one of these things. And this pit itself tells us a couple of things about who lived here. On agricultural sites, you can have what are called barracks, where multiple single men sort of live together, and each of them would have their own pit. And so we would have found like 10 or 12 pits in here. In this case, we only found the one pit, suggesting to us that this was a family unit. And so because of its central location adjacent to the Washington house, and because of its special status sort of as part of the presentation landscape, we suspect that the person that maintained wigs on the plantation probably lived here with their family. So they keep all the things that are valuable to them. Think of them as a safety deposit.
Oh, okay.
And so if you look around, there's no privacy, no aspect of privacy for enslaved people, and so people can come and go as you want. And this is a way to sort of notify people this is our stuff and this is our stuff, and try not to go into stay out of it.
So I guess once you figured out that you established that this was the quarters, you then found the pit as you continued to dig?
So opposite. We found the pit, and it informed us that this was the quarter, and it's filled with amazing groups of artifacts. A, suggesting it's domestic, and B, suggesting it's enslaved people. And what's amazing is all across Virginia, these pits occur on these quarters, and they all contain the same kinds of things. And so I can run down a list of artifacts. If we were to run into one of these root cellars, I could predict what was going to be in it ahead of time with amazing accuracy. Its location is on the same axis as the Washington house, which means it has the same view of the river, which means all the people that can see the house from in the town can also see this. And that's one of the way that English colonists deal with slavery in the 18th century. And some owners of enslaved people try and hide them from their guests, and other ones sort of put them out and sort of prominently to sort of enforce their station in life. And in this case, it's clearly this structure is clearly part of the presentation side of the farm. The purpose of putting this back on the landscape is to drive home the point that 18th century, two different social groups that are sort of linked together, very unequal sort of social relationship, but they're integral. Both groups are integral to make this place a success. But if you pan over and look at the walls, you'll see that you can see daylight coming through there. And so that means wind, rain, and cold would be in here immediately. Anytime the weather gets bad, this structure will keep you dry and allow you to cook something, but it doesn't actually provide much comfort.
Boy, to have something like this next to the Washington The stark difference.
Without a
shows
doubt,
it.
this is a great way to sort of compare and contrast the two lives, the lives of the people that are sort of living on this plantation. So the life of the Washingtons, and then the lives of the people that make this place go. So I'm sure there are other quarters. I'm not sure if they're on the property that is now identified as Ferry Farm. If you remember, the Washingtons owned two different tracts of land in the 18th century, and one of those held an agricultural quarter where people that work on the world of agriculture. And so, but the modern day Ferry Farm, we don't own that piece of land. It doesn't touch this. And then you remember, Mary Washington owns land down at Little Falls.
Yeah.
And so that's part of greater Ferry Farm as well. And so there's a quarter down there, somewhere in the ground there. And so someone else will be finding that, because that's on county and tribe property. So we know that there's going to be buildings out here. We don't know which buildings we're going to find, and what then make sure that they date to the Washington period. And so, but as we just continue our dig, we will continue to uncover other buildings. We took all the archaeological evidence and the architectural evidence of houses that enslaved people lived in other parts of Virginia, and took all that information and put it together, and then had craftsmen that specialize in 18th century techniques come and put this all together.